Hey guys, welcome to Nyonya Cooking. It's going to be Chinese New Year soon and I'm sure you guys are expecting some really delicious dishes to cook for Chinese New Year Eve dinner. Now in every Chinese New Year Eve dinner, there's going to be lots of food on the table. So I'm going to teach you how to cook a very simple Chinese classic dish, and this is how to cook sweet sour fish. The ingredients here are very colorful, but it's really so simple because we don't want too much trouble because we are going to cook many other dishes later on. So the first dish to go here is this sweet sour fish. Now let's take a look at the ingredients. We'll need a bit of aromatics just to enhance the flavor of the sauce, and therefore some minced garlic, ginger, and then just to marinate the fish, a dash of white pepper, salt, carrot, capsicums of 3 different colors. I have the yellow, red, and also green, shallots, red chilies, tomato sauce, oyster sauce, sugar, vinegar, and also Shaoxing wine or Chinese wine. For this recipe, I'm using sea bass. Now, if you don't have sea bass, you can use any different types of white fishes to prepare this recipe. Now, let's prepare to fry this fish. We'll first cut off this fin here. And then using a sharp knife, you're going to cut 3 cuts into the fish. And once it touches the bone, we're going to stop. So don't cut through. 1, 2, 3. We'll do the same on the other side. 1, 2, and 3. We will also marinate the fish before frying it. Therefore, with the bit of salt and pepper that I have, I'm going to mix it through. Mix it well, and then just sprinkle it onto the body of the fish. Try to get through the cuts as well, and also the insides of the fish. And also pour the Chinese wine. Alright, it has been about 15 minutes now. Let's get this fish up by its tail. And then we're going to just cover it with a bit of corn flour and lightly lay this down. Okay. I'm going to use the help of a spoon for the top side of the fish. Now, of course, if you have a bigger plate, you can use that too. Now, what's also really important, remember we did a few cuts earlier with the knife. You want a bit of flour to touch the cuts, yeah? So over here I have the wok prepared with a bit of oil. And you have to make sure that the wok is heated up really well. And then pour the oil in. Continue heating up the oil. This step is really important, or else your fish will then stick to the wok and then it will be a very ugly mess. When you just put a pinch of flour, see how it fizzles, then slide it down. Once you have the fish in the pan, let it continue cooking for a while, and remember to tilt the wok a little so that the oil will touch the skin of the fish, and then it will continue cooking. Now you're not supposed to move the fish, or else the skin would then tear apart. That's why we're going to wait for a while. Let it cook by itself first. We started cooking at a very high heat, and then once you have the fish inside, lower it down to medium to low heat, and then we're going to slowly cook the fish. Okay. As you can see, I have a very small wok, so if you have a bigger wok, then it's much simpler. Using a spatula, keep pushing the oil onto the fish, just like so. And don't forget the tail. Now with the help of 2 spatulas, flip the fish over. Let it continue cooking for about 6 minutes. Now this is perfectly done. As you can see, it's golden brown, and that means it's time to prepare the sweet and sour sauce. All I did was to pour away the extra oil, and I'm not going to oil the wok anymore, but I'm just going to add the garlic because there's a bit of oil already on the wok, so therefore we wouldn't need to add more oil. Ginger, and also red chilies. Now this will actually give this spiciness to this dish. Now sweet and sour used to be just sweet and sour, but in Malaysia we have it slightly spicy. It's not too spicy like curry, but it has just this pinch of spiciness that is really delicious, and I love this version a lot. Then we're going to add shallots. So saute at no heat. And once you smell the spices coming really up to your nose, then you know you can add the other vegetables. So we add the yellow capsicum, red capsicum, carrots. I've also made them into a little flower like this. And then green capsicum. So saute this for about 30 seconds. And then we're going to add the sugar, tomato sauce, oyster sauce, and to add some sourness, of course, the vinegar. So you would also want to add a bit of water just to have some gravy. Let's have the sauce simmering for another 3 minutes just to make sure that the vegetables are really soft. I like them to be slightly crunchy, so it's really up to you. But one thing, if you're going to have it really soft, it changes the color of the vegetables, so it won't be that vibrant. So it's really up to you how you like to cook it. I think back home in Malaysia, we like to have this crunch in vegetables. Okay, the gravy is ready. Now if you find that your gravy is a little too watery, you can also add a bit of cornstarch mixture, and that is just a bit of cornstarch and also water. Stir it into a boiling or the simmering gravy, and then you have a thicker version of gravy. The fish is now finally ready. It looks beautiful. You can garnish it with a bit of chili, or what I did here was also to use coriander. And then of course now with my chopsticks, it's the taste test. Make sure you take a piece of the fish and then soak it with a bit of gravy. Delicious. This goes really well with steamed white rice, and of course it will be a great Chinese New Year dish. So if you are thinking on preparing a dish for Chinese New Year, which requires fish of course, because at every Chinese New Year dinner you need to have fish, you can consider this dish, or also the other recipes that I've already prepared. I have the playlist in the description box below. I hope you consider them, try them, and also take photos and send them to www.nyonyacooking.com. In every recipe you can actually upload a photo of the recipe that you have tried. I can't wait to hear from you on Facebook or either on Instagram. Remember to subscribe to this channel if you have not, and also subscribe to our Nyonya Letters, which is our newsletter, and I can't wait to tell you more about the development of Nyonya Cooking and also our future plans. So remember to subscribe to the newsletter. Till then, I wish you happy cooking!